Please pray with me. May the words of my mouth and the meditation of our hearts be acceptable in your sight, O Lord, our strength and our Redeemer. Amen. Friendship. That's what we hear today in today's gospel, John's gospel, friendship. So when I hear friendship, the very first thing that comes into my mind, anybody here watch I Love Lucy? Anybody here know that scene in which they sing the song by, I think it's Cole Porter, Friendship? Friendship, friendship. Okay. And what happens? They're dressed in the same exact gowns. They both said they would return the gowns when they found out that they had the same gowns, and neither one of them returned their gowns. So they come out, they see that each other has the same gown on, and they begin the song, and what begins to happen? They begin to tear off the embellishments on the gown on each other, and they break out into a fight as they're singing the song, Friendship. Has anybody ever experienced that one before? Maybe not in those particular terms. But when we think of friendship, what are the qualities that you think of when you think of a friend? What are some of the qualities? It's okay, shout it out. Kindness. Your friend is incredibly kind to you. Honesty. Yes, your friend is honest and someone that you can be honest with. What else? Trusting, trustworthy, somebody that you can tell something to and you know that it's not going to be repeated back to you by somebody you don't know. Trustworthy. What else do you think of? Caring. Absolutely caring. Yeah. Being there. They are there for you. Any other things? Generous. Our friends are very generous, aren't they? Yes. Good listeners. Yes, they know when to listen. They know when to speak. They know when to just shut up and be present, which is very difficult. Any other things that you can think of? Unconditional love. Yeah, a friend has unconditional love. A friend knows us and loves us just the way we are, not trying to fix us, right? That's what we think of when we think of a friend. Sometimes I think our friends are the family that we wish we had. No, just kidding. Right? Because what's the saying, right? Always, you can pick your friends, but you can't pick your family. Yeah. So we just talked about all those things about a friend. And I love the one that talked about is there with you, right? Is there with you no matter what. Does anybody here have what's called a fair weather friend, or had you had a fair weather friend? What is a fair weather friend? Yeah, when the weather is good in your life, when everything is good, they're there for you. But what happens when the weather turns foul? They're gone. They're not there for you. They'll say they'll be there for you, but they're not there for you. Fair weather friend. Well, this gospel speaks of who Jesus is in terms of friendship in the first century. And the very thing that Jesus says, and he had said this earlier, a couple weeks ago, we heard him say, I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd lays down his life for the sheep. And here we hear the very definition of what a friend is. See, the disciples would have totally understood what was being said to them based on the classic, or back in the first century, what a friend did for you. A friend laid down their life for you. We could almost say that Jesus is our foul weather friend. Jesus laid down his life for the disciples. So when we think of Jesus being our friend, this isn't the friending as we understand it today. This is the type of friend that will lay down their life for you. And not only does Jesus say, you are my friend, which means that this is what I would do for you, Jesus actually does it. See, in John's gospel, Jesus is the one who gives his life over for the sake of the other. When we sing the song, "What a friend I have in Jesus," it has a deeper meaning. We're not talking our pal that we hang around with. We're talking about someone who is willing to lay down their life for us, and who is not only willing, but who did lay down their life for us. Such a different meaning when we sing that song, or any time we hear, Jesus is my friend. Jesus is the one who not only will or would, but actually did. I think of just recently, there was another shooting in a school in Oregon, and there was a teacher. There was a teacher who, when this 6th grade student pointed a gun at another student, she stepped in front and stood between the student and the shooter. Was she a teacher? Yes. Was that her student? Yes. But right then and there, in the classic sense of the word, as it was understood in the 1st century, she was a friend. She was willing to lay down her life for the sake of the other. And that's what Jesus calls us to do. And I'm not saying that it's easy. It is not easy at all. But you see, what Jesus says to us is, I chose you as a friend. I chose you, and this is what I am willing to do for you. And so I ask you to do the same. Thank goodness. It's the asking. And Jesus does command us to love one another as Jesus had loved us. And my goodness, do we not get this wrong all the time? All the time. Thank goodness that we're able to come together and confess, and that we are forgiven. God knows who we are, that we are human. And thank goodness it doesn't depend upon me for my salvation, but it depends upon my friend, the one who laid his life down. And it didn't stay down. It was taken back up again. And we have been invited into that relationship. The other thing that friendship is back then is there would be a, let's see, how shall we say? Do you ever have a friend or someone that wants something from you, and so they become your friend so that they can get you to do something for them? That also was what happened in the 1st century. You know, you scratch my back, I'll scratch your back, we'll take care of each other, we'll call each other friends type of a thing. They are people who didn't speak open and honestly. They would tell the person whatever it is that they wanted to hear so that they could get something from that person. Jesus says here, I have spoken open and honestly with you about who the Father is. I have held nothing back. I have been very honest right from the start. So we have a friend in Jesus who not only lays down his life for us, but tells us quite frankly and speaks very openly about who we are and who he is. That's friendship. That's not the Ricky, Ricardo, or Lucy and Ethel tearing each other's dress apart. That's not the fair weather friend, oh, okay, I'll see you only when things are good. This is the This is the friend who is with us no matter what happens in our life. This is the friend who never leaves us. This is the friend who did indeed lay down his life for us. Get caught up in that friendship, because that's the only friendship that really matters to us. Indeed, really matters. Listen to these words again that Jesus says. And every time you hear that word friend, I want you to reframe, to think of the foul weather friend, the one who is there with us in our deepest and darkest times and is willing to lay down their life. That's who Jesus is. Jesus says, this is my commandment. Love each other in the same way that I have loved you. There is no greater love than to lay down one's life for one's friends. You are my friends. I no longer call you slaves because a master doesn't confide in slaves. No, you are my friends since I have told you everything the Father told me, and I chose you. You didn't choose me. Right there is the gospel. And had we not understood what friendship meant in the first century, we might have totally missed it. Right there is the gospel. Jesus telling us who he is. We are called to love. Phileo. Phileo, that love. Philadelphia comes from that type of love in which you are willing to lay down your life for the other, and you are willing to be absolutely honest and forthright with the other person. Foul weather friends. Those are Christian friends. Those are true friends. Every time you hear what a friend we have in Jesus, remember, you are stating the gospel. The one who is willing to lay down his life for us. The one who indeed does lay down his life for us. The one who takes it back up again. In the taking it up again, we are brought into that eternal love and friendship.